Gary, 6-1 defeat here at Windsor Park. The league leaders, just give your thoughts first and foremost.
Disappointed, annoyed. That's really all I can say.
There's obviously a lot of disappointing aspects to that. In terms of once the concession of the first goal goes in and conceding again and repeatedly before half time, is that probably the biggest disappointment?
Yeah, and that's what we relayed to the players for a half an hour. I wouldn't say that anything was working terribly well, but we were keeping them in front of us. We had limited their chances. A couple of times on the break with a better pass, I think we could have been in and threatened. We kept the ball at times okay, but again, it's that thing where we sort of feel that we can't sit in and keep teams in front of us when they're not really hurting us, and to concede one after half an hour and to go in with the game up at half time again, it's just hugely frustrating, hugely disappointing, and it needs to be better.
Maybe I've probably asked you this before, we've certainly spoken about it before, is there seems to be a bit of a mentality thing in that the amount of times that we have conceded very quickly. After you conceded one, you conceded two. I mean, is that something I'm sure you're obviously seeing, and is that something that the players are obviously realising and obviously you're all trying to work on?
Yeah, absolutely. It's something that we've been trying to address for certainly a season and more now. We have good characters in there. It's just whenever we need them to step up to the mark, and the group needs to bind together in times that are difficult. You come here and it's going to be difficult, and I don't think that we've grasped that as a group.
I mean, it's not wanting to sound overly harsh, but in terms of our record, and we have discussed this before, in terms of our record against top six teams, now obviously we're playing the league leaders. We've gone 5 points clear today. You're playing them away from home, and they are one of the best teams in the league, obviously. But in terms of that record against the top six, and is it becoming psychological now at this point where there's the belief isn't there when you're coming in to play these teams?
Absolutely, and we believe as a coaching staff, and I believe in what we're doing in terms of the players that we have to contribute. I think certainly the players need a result to generate that belief, but ultimately they're the ones that need to get the result too. So it's a bit of a tricky one. It's not for the want of trying from certainly my coaching staff and from the players. The application's been superb for the most part, but it does seem to be a wee bit we're reaching out for that result, but performances like that you'll never achieve it. I mean,
obviously another game coming up very quickly on Tuesday night, and we've got a heavy run of games, obviously Tuesday, Saturday, Tuesday, Friday. I mean, is it a good thing now with another game to come up and so that you can put it to bed and go and work on things? Because next week, whilst Tuesday night against the Welders in the League Cup is an important game, next week now after Ballymena winning today is hugely important. It's even maybe more important than it already was. Is it important to get another game then out of the road sort of quickly?
Yeah, well, we're looking for a reaction on Tuesday night first and foremost. Results aside, we want to get back to basics in terms of our offensive play and working hard. We worked hard today for a half an hour and it was 0-0. We stopped working hard, and Newry as a club is a hard working club, built around hard working people, and that's what we've honed into the players. They, to be fair, have stepped up and they will step up. Tuesday nights it's good, and it's good if we perform well. Certainly Ballymena had a good result today, and that game was always important, but certainly now, given the table says it's hugely important again, and if we continue to struggle against the better teams in this league, any game against a team in and around you, it just places huge importance and pressure and emphasis on it that we'll have to get up to. Like I've said for long periods, and I've said to the group, if you're playing sport at any level, there has to be pressure with it. If you don't have pressure with it, then you're not testing yourself. And certainly next Saturday is a pressure game, but it's a pressure that we should embrace and we look forward to playing under.
Just lastly, obviously we're missing Kieran O'Connor through suspension today. Darren King and Lord Ford both injured. I presume. I mean, do you expect to see those two, any of the injured players, back either for Tuesday night or certainly for next Saturday with Ballymena?
In short, no. I don't believe so. Logan's tweaked his back. Darren King suffered concussion in an innocuous situation in training. Kieran O'Connor obviously comes back from suspension. John McGovern and Donald Scullion are working hard away from the group, so they're still a number of weeks out. And given the length of the period of time that the two players have been out on their age profile, when they come back, they have to be ready and they have to be right. But again, yeah, we're sort of getting players back and losing players, so we haven't ever had our full complement, but we're never going to use that as an excuse.
Just very lastly, Stephen Momes obviously on the bench today for the first time this season. I mean, obviously he's been out all season, and again it's the same principle. You have to make sure he's ready to come back. But the fact he's on the bench, is that a good sign that he could be available to start, or could be available to come into the side sooner rather than later?
Yeah, well, Stevie is possibly defying what he should be doing. Stephen is hurt, but he's trained phenomenally well, and as well as I certainly have seen him, and I know Stephen a long time, so Stephen's waiting on an appointment to see how his treatment is taken forward, but he feels he can get through training initially, and we'll maybe test him in a game situation to see how he gets through it. Again, another huge player, great asset to have back on the bench and in the matchday squad, because he's a lot of things, but he's certainly a good character to have about, and that's what we need is character within the group, and Mona brings that leadership.